What up, y'all? Born Shining here. I'm Born Shining, you're Born Shining, we're all Born Shining. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. And if they try, just don't listen to them. All right, so in the last video, I'm going to try to really make this one quick. I know I say that a lot, and they usually run in like 15 minutes or whatever, but I'm going to try to get this one quick because I want to clarify something that I said in the last video about, or another video about, homosexuals and children and all that shit. And really, to me, it makes all the sense in the world. You know, if the well, first give a shout out to the great creator, spirit which moves through all things. I want to give a shout out to Ra. Thank you. Jesus and the Ascended Masters, my spirit guides, spirit animals, the Archangel Squad, passed over loved ones, all my friends, seen and unseen, known and unknown. All right. And again, I'm not saying that if you're homosexual, like you need to burn in hell or any of that shit. What I'm saying is that those relationships don't produce children. And so if you're not producing children, you're less inclined to give a shit about children. You know what I mean? Now, I will say that there's a lot of fucking weird people out there who have children just for this, like they use them as currency. These people have children just to use them as currency. And if you don't know, now you know. All right? It's crazy the stuff that's happening out there. All right? I'll be the first to admit that's fucking gnarly, dude. But it's not. It's true. Okay? So if you're using your children as currency, you got a problem, all right? But you're more likely to, in those relationships, in those homosexual relationships, you're not producing children. So you are maybe less inclined to value children. You could probably argue that they're more inclined to value children because they want them to be innocent or whatever, you know? But if you look at if you do the math on it, how many homosexual relationships are producing children? All right. I'm not talking about how many homosexuals have children because they obviously didn't come from that relationship. You know what I mean? It takes a man and a woman to make a baby. You know what I mean? So if you've got two women, or two men, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to figure out that that's not going to produce any children. And if you don't have any children, you're probably not going to care about what happens to children, you know? Um, so, that's my thinking on that. And again, these are just general statements. I'm not saying that everybody that likes, every dude that likes dudes is a pedophile. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, you know, you gotta, because you're thinking about it from the top down. You know what I mean? Thinking about it from the top down. Like at some point in history, homosexuality was a thing that happened amongst elites, you know? And it's not like, and again, it comes from self gratification. It's like, oh, we got so much time on our hands. Like, these people in the Senate, these guys in the Senate can just start sleeping with each other because why? They've got so much money, they've got so much time. It's like, whatever the case may be, but it's definitely not a natural thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, I don't even need to get into the Bible or anything like that. Um, it's not going to produce a baby. So if you're not going to produce a baby, then you're probably going to be less inclined to give a shit about children in general because you don't have any. You know what I mean? It's like if you don't have a dog, you're probably less likely to care about dogs. All right? I'm not saying you do. I'm not saying you don't. I'm saying you're probably less likely to give a shit about what happens to dogs. Dog owners are more likely to be a part of PETA. You know what I mean? Like if you really gave a shit about animals, you probably have one. You know what I mean? Like people who have children usually want to see their children grow up healthy and be well. You know what I mean? But if you're in relationships that don't produce children, you probably don't like children. Because if you did, you would probably be in a relationship that had children. And this gets into a lot of weird stuff where people will get into relationships just to have children. It's like I can think of some females that were in relationships with men just to have children. you know, and they go through all of this conniving, manipulative shit just to create children, and then they divorce the guy, take half of his shit, and go raise their children the way they want to raise them. But that's fucking dysfunctional, man. It's fucking dysfunctional. So again, I'm not saying that homosexuals are pedophiles or any of that kind of shit. I'm just saying that if you're not in a relationship that's producing children, you're probably going to be less inclined to give a shit about children. You know what I mean? And that's just facts, dude. Like, if you're not a vegetarian, you probably don't care how stuff is grown. You know? Again, you may or may not. I'm just saying, you're less inclined to give a shit about how lettuce is grown if you don't eat it. You know what I mean? And if you're a vegan, you know, interestingly, you do care about the cows. You know? It's just interesting stuff, you know? But I definitely don't think that it's normal, all right? And just on a further note, you know, there's a lot of weird shit happening with children that needs to be discussed that doesn't get discussed enough. Especially that whole using children as currency thing. There's some sick weirdos out there, man. All right, and yeah, your day is coming, bub. I'll tell you that much. Your day is coming, you know. But thinking about it from the top down, thinking about these elites, you know, I mean, it just makes sense to me that if you're some elite who has all the time and all the money and all of the power to do stuff, you know, and you've already slept with all the dudes, like who's next? You know, like what's the next frontier as far as that goes? You know, probably little kids. I mean, doesn't take it's not rocket science. You know what I'm saying? It's not rocket science. And if you want to get get real interested, you know, it gets really interesting because like how is it that a lot of this stuff can go, you know, take that whole Pizzagate thing. It's like, why didn't that get more serious consideration? I mean, we're talking about children here. We're talking about the well-being of children. It's like they didn't even look into it. You know what I mean? I did, and I know a lot of other people did, and I got some different results. So it's just kind of interesting, you know. It's like, what's really going on here? You know, what's really going on? Because if it's about the children, like everybody wants to tell you that, oh, it's about the children, we got to save the children and all this stuff, then why are there children starving across halfway across? Why is anybody starving, first of all, in this planet when there's enough food for everybody to go around? You know what I mean? But especially the children, it's like they just want to deny it and say, no, 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 that's not true, that's not true. It's like, well, fucking look into it. You know what I mean? Like, let's send some independent investigators in and see what's really going on. You know, I'm really sick of this. I mean, I have my own experiences as a child, you know, so I'm personally, this is a personal matter for me. But at the same time, children are our future. You know what I mean? And if we're in a society where these people are free to roam and do harm to children and not get caught, and it's worse than that. It's not even like they're not going to get caught. It's like people don't believe that it happens. People don't believe that it happens. Like, that's crazy, dude. How are you going to solve a problem that you don't even believe exists? Huh? You know, it's like I was talking to my friend. I was trying to explain my story to him, and he was asking me questions about like, what am I doing and how do I know this and how do I know that? And I asked him, I was like, bro, it's like, do you believe in voodoo? You know, do you believe in magic, black magic, any kind of magic? And he was like, no. And I was like, well, what kind of explanation can I offer you that's gonna make sense? You know, it's like, how do you explain uh, how a phone works to somebody that doesn't even know what a cell phone is? You know what I mean? How do you explain what a car is to somebody that doesn't know what a car is? Like, you can't, you know? So it's like all these people out here running around living in this, uh, I don't even know what you call it. It's definitely a matrix, man. But, you know, these people who don't believe that there's child predators out there, like, come on. All right. And I think you would find a strong correlation between those people who are child predators and they are also homosexuals. I'm not saying it's every homosexual is a child predator, but I'm saying that most child predators are probably interested in same-sex relationships. All right. Now, this definitely needs to be talked about. All right. And I'm not here on this channel to tickle everybody's fancy, you know? It's like, yeah, there's a lot of positive things that are going on in this world, and there's also some dark shit that's going on that needs to be discussed, you know? But we definitely can't be having that. We can't be having people running around hurting children, and it's like people don't even want to believe it. You know, it's like you're too afraid to look at the problem or too afraid to hold people accountable. You don't even want to see it. It makes you feel guilty or ashamed or whatever. But like, dude, we can't be having that. And that's probably that's definitely going to be one of the biggest changes is justice for children. Women too, but definitely for children. All right, I'm going to get out of here before this cuts off. Love you guys. Save the children. Peace.